Israel's war on brown people. This is my conclusion as of late. I don't see any headlines on this, but Israel is partaking in this war on brown people. They've already been sterilizing Ethiopian women, so they're bombing brown kids. I mean, they're not all brown, but they don't like they don't like they don't like it. They're kind of starting to turn out like Nazis. I mean, Nazis didn't really supposedly like brown people, and here we are. So, this is an image from Aya Dalzaro on Instagram. The Day of Rage in Yemen for Palestine and Lebanon. However, there's some interesting things in Lebanon in regards to the Senegalese people out there, and I just found out this. We're going to go into it more soon, but in Lebanon, it is ba- Senegalese women are banned from being able to give birth. So there's a lot of discrimination against African people that go to Lebanon to have a better life. So a lot of Senegalese women have been suffering. And recently, as a response to all that, the Senegalese government has banned Lebanese women from giving birth in Senegal. So it's an eye for an eye sort of ordeal. And at the end of the day, the real problem here when it comes to something like this, because the Lebanese people, as far as I know, they're not like overtly Zionist like the Israeli state doesn't have much room to speak anymore in regards to their own rights. I would say, those that are the colonizing settlers, that is. But I digress. This is a example of women suffering because of evil men. Because right now, the majority of those that are in these sorts of dictatorial rulership order follower positions are men. So men right now culturally are doing a lot of the suppressing, unfortunately. And so yeah, we're gonna get into that down the road in another podcast. I don't know. Episode 2, episode 3, we'll see. So this I thought was an interesting thing to happen all of a sudden. A truck strikes a bus stop in Israel.
The breaking news that's coming out of Israel, and at least 40 people have been injured, 10 of them critically, after a truck crashed into a bus station that's in Gilot, north of Tel Aviv. Now, there are reports that several people are trapped under the bus. Israeli media says the driver was shot. So Mohammed Jamjoom is in Jordan's capital, Amman. That's because the Israeli government has banned Al Jazeera from reporting inside Israel and in the occupied West Bank. So Mohammed, we understand the police are now calling this a terror attack. Is that right?
That's what we've seen from the Israeli emergency services. They have stated that the Israeli police consider this to be a terror attack. The reports that are emerging are stating that this was a truck or a bus that rammed into people waiting at this bus stop. And as you mentioned just a moment ago, we're hearing that there are still at least several people that are potentially trapped under this vehicle. We are also seeing reports that there are at least 50 that were injured, that many were taken to the hospital, and that there are emergency crews still at the scene working. Obviously, still a lot of questions with regards to how exactly this occurred. There's a lot of concern about this incident. There are reports that the truck or bus driver was shot. But again, we're still waiting on more details from police, specifically about the perpetrator, the suspect, what exactly they believe the motivation was behind this, and it's still a lot of details that we're waiting to find out at this hour. Sammy?
On that point, Mohammed, have they given any indications of anything at all about who the driver was?
We've not seen anything confirmed yet, Sammy, with regards to the identity of the driver or where the driver is from. We're waiting on that information as we speak. But this is certainly going to cause a lot of concern at a time when more and more Israelis are feeling vulnerable to the kinds of attacks that happen on the ground. Over the course of the past year, you have had more ramming attacks, you've had more shooting attacks, you've had more stabbing attacks where there are Israelis in central Israel and other parts of Israel that are targeted, but also at a time when more and more communities are facing attacks from the sky as well. You've had dozens of rockets that are being fired from Lebanon towards northern Israeli cities and communities, central Israeli cities and communities. You've had drone attacks, several of them happening per day the past few weeks as well. Air raid sirens going off all hours of the day and night, making a lot of these communities feeling much more vulnerable at a time when the Israeli leadership continues to state repeatedly that all the wars that they are engaged in, all the wars that they are prosecuting, be it in Gaza or in Lebanon, or even the retaliatory attack against Iran just a day and a half ago, the Israeli leadership, military and political, continues to say that all of this is making Israel in the long term a safer place. And the citizens, many of them are starting to question if that is actually the case. Sammy?
All right, that's Mohammed Jamjoom reporting to us live from Amman in Jordan, because Israel has banned Al Jazeera from reporting inside Israel and from the occupied West Bank. We're joined now by Abid Abu Shahade. He's a journalist based in Jaffa, so good to have you with us. And from what we're hearing, the way the authorities are talking about this as an attack right now, which would indicate this is an incident where a truck has been deliberately run into people, right? That's usually the context for that kind of language.
Hi, Sammy. So, yes, as you mentioned, and I think the language here plays a very big role in framing. We still don't know what actually happened other than what or how many people were injured. But the terminology that's been used, especially by...
All right, we're going to go now to Tel Aviv and listen in to an official speaking.
How do you spell your name?
Israel, Israel, Weingarten, Weingarten, paramedic from Magen David Adom. You're welcome.
להגיד את ההתחלה מאייסטי מהסוכנות הצרפתית בלייב. כן. יכול רק לחזור על... רגע, בוא נזוז שלא נפריע. Yes. Israel Weingarten from MADA. Can you tell us about the scene? What did you find here? Who did you treat?
Okay, so around 10:20, we got a call from the operation dispatch about a car accident between a bus to the truck. Our crews arrived to the scene. We started treat, and a lot of people, old people, this was inside of the bus and outside from the bus. They were suffering for a severe injury, and we took the patient to the hospital.
How many injuries in total? What was the condition when you arrived to the scene?
Few patients was suffering for severe injuries. The others was in a good condition, not in a bad condition.
Can you confirm this is an attack or it's still being investigated?
It's still in state. The police checking the police checking it right now. We not know, and we cannot allow to say anything about it.
Thank you so much. Just your name,
Israel Weingarten, Israel Israel Weingarten, Weingarten, paramedic Magen David Adom.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, so just to bring you into context of what that was a paramedic on the scene of this incident at a bus stop north of Tel Aviv, where the paramedic was explaining what he understood at that point, which is that he was dispatched to the scene, found an incident in which people were injured inside and outside a bus. He said there were severe injuries. A few of them were severely injured. And at that point in time, he was saying that authorities were still investigating whether or not this is an accident or an attack. But
yeah. So it's being perceived that this was a terrorist attack. Which, I mean, technically, yeah. Somebody shooting the bus driver and putting other people in danger, yeah. So, I don't know if there's any updates about this at this point, but this was just an interesting headline coming out of Israel that, like, out of all the things that's going on, this is the headline that goes live. And when I looked it up on YouTube, Fox News was a recommendation for me, and it showed in the thumbnail a terror attack in big, in a red bar in white letters. So, yeah. It's pretty interesting that they wanted to really grip onto this headline for that. So, we're going to take a look at the attacks that have been on Tehran from the Israeli genocide army. This was on October 26th. Comes to us from Al Jazeera English. That's a first video of the rockets going into Tehran and being intercepted by their own missile defense system. Oh, I think I made a mistake here with this video. So it says basically, so naive, in 3 claimed waves of missiles, not a single one hit the ground in Tehran, which was the main target. Less than 5 out of hundreds missiles hit the ground in Khuzestan and Ilam provinces. Nothing happened. Iran will show them what a real strike is. Tehran during and after. Oh, I made a whoopsie with these images. Oh, wow. Okay, so we're gonna have to just open this slide because I made a huge mistake here with this. Oh, boy. Let's see. You know what? I'm not gonna correct it. You're just gonna take my word for it for this one. I'll just keep it in mind for next time. Yeah, look at how much I goofed up on this one. Alright. It says breaking. The situation in Iran is currently calm. The Zionists are now doing their favorite sport, sheltering. And these are the red alerts going off throughout the besieged Palestinian territory that they call Israel. Breaking. Israel is spreading fake news about the attack by sharing a video and some pictures of 2021. Iranian citizens are safe. Israel still has to work harder. And so Khalid Bedoun, very, is staunch the word? I don't know. He's very pro-Palestine. I'm trying to be smart here, okay? But he made a post here saying, Israel is currently bombing Iran, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and Gaza. at the same time with American jets and American tax dollars. Yeah. And lastly, for this segment of Israel's war on brown people, we're going to take a look at Albania being complicit in Palestinian genocide. So these are the people of the Balkans that condemn docking of genocide ship. Or maybe it's asking the people. I don't know. The captioning is a little confusing. But this is a headline. Albania complicit in genocide against the Palestinian people. The ship MV Catherine, carrying military supplies for Israel, finds a sanctions buster. And then you see this image here of the Catherine with its cargo almost fully unloaded docks in Durrës, Albania. Okay. And then it says BIRN Albania journalists reported that a cargo ship carrying explosives for Israel to use in its genocide in occupied Palestine and Lebanon docked in a port in Durrës, Albania. It has since then left. The ship, the MV Catherine, has already been rejected from docking in ports in Namibia and Malta due to its role in Israel's war machine. Just last week, Greek dock workers in Athens blocked a different arms shipment to Israel. We, the undersigned groups in the Balkans, stand united in our condemnation of this transfer of weapons to Israel. We demand that each of our governments and their complicity in Israel's genocide, or end their complicity in Israel's genocide. We will not stop resisting until there is a free Palestine. And that comes to us from Face Connoisseur on Instagram. Yeah. And she adds here in the description of the post, these posts, we call on all people of conscience to put pressure on Albania to announce the whereabouts of the containers with explosives for Israel, confiscate them, and ensure they don't reach their destination. Yeah.